Welcome to the St. Joe's History Series, Memories of St. Joe's. Today we're very happy to welcome Dan Riley. Thank you, Dan, for agreeing to do or answer some of our questions.
You're welcome.
Now, be nice to me, eh? Dan and I are old friends, so. So Dan, when did you start coming to St. Joe's?
It was around the mid-70s. I had moved from Toronto and firstly to Beacon Hill North, and then subsequently out to Orleans, Common Glen North. And I started coming to St. Joe's shortly after that.
Okay. And what attracted you to come here?
Well, I was introduced to St. Joseph's by my father, who was living in Sandy Hill. He was staying with Father Llewellyn Graham, actually, over in Sandy Hill. Llewellyn Graham was the pastor at St. Albans, and there was an ad in the paper, and Dad was a senator in Ottawa, and he asked me to look for a place for him to stay. So we put an ad in the paper, and I went to, Dad was down in St. John, and I went to Llewellyn Graham's place, and it was amazing, you know. And he had a beautiful dog and a lovely house. And I said, Dad, I told him you're taking it. And so anyway, Dad had been going to St. Joseph's even prior to that. And so I felt, I went with him and I felt comfortable here.
Now, Dan, you have two children, Dan Jr. and Kim, and they were both part of this parish during their youth. Would you share with us why you thought it was important for them to attend Mass?
Yes, while I was growing up in St. John, New Brunswick, my mother and father, we went to Mass. My paternal grandfather as well was involved in another parish, but he was in Knights of Columbus and what have you. And I know that with regard to my children, what you learn when you are young stays with you. And I always believed in what I was taught at church. I wasn't entirely happy back in the early days when when things were not so forgiving, but since Vatican II, it's been great, and I think. And I'm grateful for being able to be an example to my kids and to my grandchildren now with regard to church and Mass.
Good. Now, Dan, you're involved in the parish council, actually the chair of the parish council back in the 1980s. And that was a time when St. Joe's was growing and was becoming very, very active. Would you share with us some of your challenges you faced back then on the parish council?
Yes, there were. St. Joseph's was a very busy, active, and is now still, parish. There were organizations like Development and Peace and the MAMI, Missionaries of Mary Immaculate, and all sorts of organizations. And when I was chairing the parish council, after being asked to, I wasn't going to run for anything, but I was asked to, while I was attending, I first of all started going to the parish council meetings and then was asked to chair it. I found it very difficult because I was being asked to attend all of the other meetings that the parish had. As I said, Development and Peace, and I would be going to meetings representing the parish at diocesan meetings out at at various places around the city. And I was busy as well with, I was a single parent with two children in school. I was a parish council. I was on the PTA at school so that I would know what was going on. And so at that particular time, I was very, very, very busy. And I asked Father Doug Crosby, now Bishop, I said, after, this couple of years on the council, I must step down because my family is important.
Yeah, fairly. That's good. Good decision on your part. Because I know your kids, and I know how well they've been taken care of. So, now, Dan, there's some people in this parish who think I can't sing. So I haven't joined the choir, but you have. And you've been in the choir now, the 1130 choir, for several years. What prompted you to become involved, and how are you enjoying it?
Well, first of all, I will confirm that you cannot sing. I can remember sitting with you at various occasions, and you would attempt it. But in any event, I was in a choir when I was in elementary school and in high school, but not to any great degree. When I retired from the federal government after 52 years of nonstop service in the government, various government departments, I needed to keep busy. And I went and asked, knowing that one of the things that I did like and what was available was a choir. And I went and I spoke to Jamie Loback, and I said, is it possible? I said, I don't read music, but I love singing, and I could catch on to the tunes and the words. He says, you're more than welcome. Come and do what you can. And to this day, if I for some reason I can't make it, he says, just come when you can. And I'm very grateful for that. And also, I might add, Jamie's partner, Ode Ubanik, in the church hall downstairs, there was a meeting one time, and she asked me, she was going to start with a new choir as a director, with a long-established choir, but her as a new director, the Ottawa Carleton Mill Choir. And we went through the days of, I said, well, I'm busy I was free on Wednesday, and she says, well, that's when our choir practice is. So it was perfect. Good. So I'm doing that and Jamie's choir, and I feel blessed. I feel blessed because music stays with you. I'm doing a study, taking part of a study with Elizabeth Briere, for instance. It's on dementia. And one of the things that I've learned through dementia is that, as an example, I went with my mother one time to a friend of hers at a nursing home in St. John when I was home visiting, and she had dementia. And Mom said, she looked up at the picture. There were about 10 children that they had, something like that. It was more than Mom had. She only had 7. And she said, Hyla, who is this? Hyla would go like this. Which one is this? So I knew at that point she had dementia, and I took out my iPhone because she had been a nurse during the war over in Europe. Took my iPhone out, and I found the White Cliffs of Dover and Lily Moraine, and I played them, and Hyla sang every single word.
Yeah.
And anyway, music is great, and I love it.
Super. Now, Dan, for the people listening, if someone wanted to join the choir, how would they go about it?
Well, very simply, just ask Jamie Loback. As I mentioned, when I started the choir, I didn't read music. My voice could be heard, during as a member of the parish when we were all singing, and I would be singing loud so that people wouldn't hear you. But in any event, I would ask Jamie, and anyone would be more than welcome.
Okay. Now, Dan, from 1995 to 2001, St. Joe's had a singles group. It was primarily focused on singles who were over the age of 30, who were single or separated, divorced, or had a deceased partner. You were a member of the group, as was I. Would you share with us some of your thoughts about this group?
Well, Terry, as you know, we had a lot of fun. We would go, I remember going to maple syrup farms in the spring and having pancakes with maple syrup. I remember getting together at various members' homes where we would do things like make fudge, which is where I learned about your famous fudge, and I shared the recipe with all of my family down in New Brunswick, and they keep asking me if they've lost the recipe. It was a good social event with people from the parish, and that's the parish is community. And living now in Sandy Hill, I know so many people from the parish, and it's a blessing.
Yes, we took in close to 200 members, but we also brought in people throughout the city who heard about it and came and joined the group.
Yes.
And it was just a real good time. Now, Dan, going back in time to the 1980s, 1990s, St. Joe's had a variety of leaders within the parish community. Which ones do you recall as having significant impact on the parish, and why?
Well, what comes to mind, or who comes to mind, are people like Jane Williams, who looked after the choir and children's activities. I can remember my son and daughter, for instance, being a lector, and Jane rehearsed us all before each Sunday. My son, myself, and others. Her choir, there would be events. I can remember going to her home one time over in Elmer, and you and I were out in the lawn with water guns, squirting each other and a few other people. No, Jane was I consider people like Jane a leader. Oh, other people, there were so many groups like Development and Peace and all sorts of groups, St. Vincent de Paul, Jerry Murta, for instance. And there were a lot of leaders. Now, I must say, there are different types of leaders. And there are leaders like I spoke of, and I must admit, there are leaders like yourself, Terry, who wrote this book, Where the Spirit Lives, a history of St. Joseph's Parish. Now that is amazing. That and what you're doing with the parish now is amazing. But you are not always a good leader. I can remember on one of our walks up in Gatineau with the supper table, or with the singles group. You led us through a field where the grass was higher, like the song says, than an elephant's ear, and you could not see where you were going, and you could see the fluff coming up from the grass and all of that, but so you could get an idea of the direction where the people were ahead of us. We hollered and we got out of there as quick as we could, although we were hoping and praying that we were going to get out, because we didn't know what was north, south, east, or west. We got out on the onto the road, the group of us, and a car stopped and asked for directions, and you ran up to give the directions, and we were saying, "Don't listen to him, don't listen to him, he'll get you lost." So, no, but you are a true leader, and the parish is grateful for your leadership.
Thank you, Dan. What are do you have a favorite memory of St. Joe's?
I believe my favorite memories are coming to St. Joseph's with my children when they were young, in elementary school and in high school, and now with my grandchildren who've been baptized here. And it makes me feel so good to pass on an example of what I was taught by my grandparents and my parents. To be able to do the same makes me feel blessed, makes me feel grateful, it makes me feel loved, and I can't ask for more than that.
Good. And then, final question. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with us?
I can only say that as a member of St. Joseph's Parish, I've learned about Galilee. I've gone to silent retreats there with Father Richard Kelly. His time with, spending time with him and listening to his reflections and giving me advice, and the same with Jim Bleakley, our pastor now. His reflections at the weekday masses, it's like listening to people like Richard Rohr or James Finley, who are from the the association of down in New Mexico, where they're teaching love and forgiveness and everything that I was not taught as a child. I am so grateful, and I feel blessed, and I feel at times that when I'm in church and when I'm praying, that I'm in heaven on earth.
Well, Dan, I'd like to thank you for this very revealing interview, and to realize that you still don't think I can sing. And thank you for doing this video, Dan. Much appreciated.
Thank you, sir.